Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Alright, this is, I forget what weekend this is. Anyhow, I've been working here on this well system here, the old one here. Got the motor strapped back up, got some of the wiring and plumbing started. As you see, I'm caged in, or you could say the boys are caged out. And as you may notice, I've got lots and lots of plumbing stuff. Pretty much because I don't know what I've got. I don't know what I'm going to need. Use as much of what I've got as I can. And before I go and get anything else and spend more money. Oh no. Quit rubbing on me. Anyhow, now I'm going to get out of the field while the boys are distracted a moment. Alright, so I brought these water tanks up. I'm going to try to get all 3 water tanks in there. Mainly just so I have some reserves. The 3 of the water tanks that were in the basement, there's only 1 left because a pair of them have leaked. And I can't really repair them for a pressure fit the way they're made. It occurred to me that instead of making a concrete wall around this whole thing, I'm just going to go ahead and take the panels, put a concrete slab around the existing well house with a footing, and use those panels as the walls of the whole thing. And so it'll be 8.5 foot by 8.5 foot. And then I'll still have the watering trough out the back to the south downhill. And then the front will have a door. I'm going to try to go ahead and insulate it with loads of those feed bags you've seen me gathering and piling up in mountains. So I've got tons and tons of insulation for that. And then I'll try to put vinyl siding on it if the vinyl siding is in good enough shape and not too brittle. That's where they're just standing right now. So when I'm done, it'll be about the height of the wooden panel there, maybe a little higher. Actually, it'll probably be higher than the peak of what the roof is now because I'll raise it up on a slab. And then, when that's all up, and of course it won't have the posts in the corners. I'll just have to put a roof on it at that point. And it'll be 6 foot inside, and it'll have a concrete. The well equipment will be below the level of the soil, which will be brought up all the way around to the height of the to the north end. So it'll be, instead of being sloped, it'll be leveled out all the way around. Now, over to other topics. Let's see how the gentian's been doing. If it's survived being brutalized by all the animals. It's still got its 1 lonely stem out of 4. Hopefully it'll make it through the year and produce flowers and seeds and carry on next year. So it hasn't been destroyed any further than it was, thankfully. And a lot of the sunflowers are still slowly blooming, but they're pretty close to done. So instead of going around taking pictures of every single dead flower, we'll carry on with the things that are still alive. This grapevine is putting on still. It hasn't lost any interest in living yet, thankfully. So hopefully it'll continue on. Even this late in the year, though, it is pretty easy for them to die and lose all their grapes. So again, that grapevine right there has pretty much given up for the year as far as fruit goes. It's growing, but it is making no fruit. We'll see what it does next year. I trained it across a string over here to hopefully get it up on the roof some more. And it's going to be way up in there. I may prune it back. I don't know. It may get up into that redbud tree. I don't know. But I can reach a lot of that from the rooftop. This one has these things here struggling along because we haven't had much rain for a couple of weeks. But this one is putting on some decent fruit on the overall. These out here at the edge didn't do so well, but on the overall, this is one big vine. So it's producing a lot of fruit for a single vine. As long as the goats don't eat it before they ripen and I can pick them. And the funny thing is, it flowered in multiple stages. You see, these are smaller because they flowered later, even though they're the same plant. And some didn't set, but so many did that it's not like it's hurting for fruit. Okay, over here, we still have just Sally as a newborn in this field. Both Snippy Snap over there and Chestnut are still pregnant, and then Sam here is just taking care of her one baby, so they're okay. And then over here, no real serious change except in size. Yes, Daisy's been easier to handle than she had been in the past. She's a little less wild. And then Jumpy Jeff, Mighty Mutt's little brother, is doing pretty good. Silver's doing good. Gold, you can't see her maybe, but she's down there behind her mama. All you can see is just a patch of her shoulder. So, yeah. In here, we won't be in here long because there's music playing in the background, and you all know that music rights thing. But anyhow, just a quick brief that there's Papa Bear and Mighty Mutt. Yes. Mighty Mutt's pretty much going to be blind, it looks like, rest of his life. His eyes are deformed and everything. Whether that was a birth defect or what, we don't know. No real changes in the greenhouse, so I'm not going to bother going over that and crawling through there. Let me turn this light off here. I can't think of it all of a sudden. Amaryllis is in dormant stage. All of its leaves have fallen off and it's in dormant stage. There's one little speck of green at the top. It's just kind of like, see, I'm alive kind of deal. Again, these grapes still, this vine loaded with grapes all across here. I guess you can't really see them from this angle because they're underneath the foliage, but they're there. Yeah, it's Jelly Gel, Fluffy Puffy, Candy. They're looking really good. Now, as far as looking good, there's the Rose of Sharon started blooming this week. Now, I wanted to remember that I missed doing a Sabbath report last week because it was past Pentecost, so we were rushed and things, and so I didn't get to note any changes last week. The raspberries, while they did fruit, and they did fruit pretty decently, it tasted like nothing, literally. So they tasted so flavorless that I just wasn't even inspired to pick them. I don't know if that was me or if it was them, but anyhow. It's still putting on some fruit. See, Candy's over there getting a hold of she's eating the Rose of Sharon. What can I say? It's in their field, and I can't do much about it, so she won't hurt the plant too much. This thing is putting on, these little flower plants putting on new growth. Still haven't gotten my broken branches down from the storm. The blackberry here is putting on hopefully a decent amount of fruit. I've got water in there. I lost a couple of plants to dehydration. A couple of the rooted ones dried out. Now I've got to turn that off here after a while, because when this is on, the boy's watering is not on, because the pressure, I don't have a pressure regulation thing to make certain I'll get the right amount of water. I would say that the mulberries up there did pretty good this year compared to previous years. I didn't get many of them picked because it was pretty hard to keep up with them. So I don't know what to say about that, except maybe next year. The mimosas, what few there are flowering. If I can get them to focus, probably not. Anyway, they're flowering, but this thing really needs to be pruned back a lot because it's got a lot of rot on it. They don't seem to handle being big. So the black-eyed Susans are going okay over here. The yellow cone flower, which is, and again, is part of the Echinacea family and therefore is not a member of the sunflower family, is doing really well. And again, it's not that the sunflowers aren't doing good, they're just getting to the end of their season. The peach tree, I don't know if I'd mentioned, I think I did last report, that the top up here started shriveling up as the bottom started growing in, so I just went ahead and took it off, save it the effort. So it's putting all its effort into growing down low, and it's doing pretty good, I think, all things considered. I should probably water it some more though, since it's still tender. This thing has continued to flower despite the deer. These tend to get eaten by the deer all the time. Our hazelnuts, again, we have exactly one single lone nut on the whole tree, or shrub or bush. So that's kind of where that's at. Our celery, instead of dying, it's growing. I'm very happy. Hopefully I'll get a lot of celery seed from it. If not this year, next year, because then we can raise a lot of celery, hopefully. Well, if you get them rooted and get them in the right condition, they'll grow like weeds. I mean, they'll just practically become an invasive species. But if you don't, they die. They're real fickle about that. They're either all or nothing. There's not much in the way in between. Now over here, my $20 tomato plant has not yet given me a full return on investment, but it's still growing. And I've eaten 2 tomatoes off of it, or 1, maybe, yeah, 2. And I got 1 ripening in the house, and then the animals robbed me of 1. But then I've still got 5 fruits. You see 2 are ripening, the other 2 will be ripening, 3 will be ripening soon. There's more on the way. They're hard to see until they get to a certain size because of this weird curly leaf condition going on. But like there's one right there. There are tomatoes on here. They're just hard to pick. There's one right there. They're hard to pick out from the curly leaf condition. If the leaves were normal, you'd see the tomatoes a lot easier. People with better eyes than me can probably see them too. The cherries are still putting on. My neighbor, well, I guess I consider them my neighbor, even though they're like 8 miles away. Their cherry tree is already fully ripe, and this one is not. I don't know if it's because there's a difference in the breed or exactly what. But, and I don't know that I'll get anything off these. I put another spud in there, whether it lives or not. I've kept it out from under the walnut trees, because apparently they're susceptible, yeah, to the poisoning of walnut trees. These avocado seeds, I've got them in there with some standing water to keep them moist. There's 2 seeds in there, but neither of them are open yet. Of the frozen topped ones, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are recovered. That, I don't know, I don't even know what that plant is, but it's not a avocado. I'll probably pluck it out of there. But anyhow, there's a seed in here, in theory. And so the pineapples are still making it, barely. I still haven't trimmed them yet. Over here, I have one new seedling. This is this year's seedling that has come up. My lemongrass experiment is not doing too well. It's shrinking and shriveling, so I don't know if it'll make it. I've got more avocado seeds in here, but they're probably spoiled. Probably too much, put it up there in the shade. Probably too much bacterial growth, kill them. I sprayed poison ivy and perilla mint this last week, so my tank is empty. I need to refill it and get ready for the next spray. I just spray directly on the plants I need and not the whole field. The potatoes, again, they were underneath the, ooh, something's been digging in here, I think. Looks like. Either that or I managed to do that when I was watering it. Anyhow, hasn't died completely, but I'm not for sure. They're supposedly indeterminate, but I think they're determinate. They've determined they're going to die. This one, just barely sticking out of the ground still. And it may or may not do anything. But hopefully these that have already come up will at least put on some kind of tubers before they die completely. Now I had said that this thing did not fruit. It turns around, to my surprise, it actually at least put on one single bunch of grapes, if I can find it. Yeah, there's some right there. 2 bunches of grapes. Oh, bunches of grapes. Alright, so I'm very delighted to report that, well, as you can see, there's lots of grapes. Now I could go all the way downstairs and heat the ticks and everything to show you the one on the corner. It's got loads of grapes on it too. And they're going to probably be the biggest of the grapes. They've made monstrous clusters, bunches. The last year that I saw it before it fell down. Bachelor button, aka stuff and coffee, chicory. Decided to grow here. First time I've had bachelor button on the property, and to my surprise, but hopefully it'll grow more, because chicory is a good crop and I don't want to go chasing up and down the road for it. Alright, the only real thing that's going on in the shop is that I replaced the start capacitors for the phase converter, and I pulled off the relay. The relay was welded, so I ordered a new relay. It should be here on the 27th, hypothetically, which is next Friday. And then I hopefully will be able to turn this thing on and make it run like normal again until the contacts weld on it. I restarted working on this refinement of tallow for a friend of mine, and it hasn't gone very far yet, but hopefully it will. That's pretty much everything that I've done. I don't know if I mentioned before that I decided I'm going to try to turn this old broken face TV into a fly trap. So I'll piece of tape on it. There'll be 2 motors, and inside there'll be the lights, and then there'll be rolls on each end of one to roll out the fly tape and one to roll up the fly tape. I think I have a roll of fly tape here. I don't know if I brought it down or not. Maybe it's not down here. I'm not for sure. crud, I don't see it. Anyhow, when I get closer, I'll describe more about that as I get closer to the actual time. So other than that, the horse mint is pretty much all done blooming, going to seed, and then pretty soon I will go ahead and start gathering it up for processing for this year's horse mint. Hopefully I'll get many times more mint this year than I have in previous years. We shall see what we shall see. And other than that, the again, some of these sunflowers are still doing okay. The onions have gone to seed. This version of apparently a version of butterfly weed slash dog's bane slash milkweed is doing pretty good. The moth mullein is, or fuzzy mullein, whatever kind of mullein it's called, is putting on flowers. The wild lettuce is putting on flowers. Of course, the fleabane daisy is still holding out. The Queen Anne's lace is in good bloom. I know some people hate these things, but I don't. Little bitty sunflowers, they're all wilty, probably because they're shallow rooted. Yeah, let's see. Oh, there's poppies. Okay, before we get to the poppies, here's some, so there's another purple coneflower. They didn't look very well, but the horse mint is almost done blooming. It's looking pretty good though. It did really good this year. Of course, we had a lot of rain too. Now, the poppy, right over here, there's a lot of them around, but when I say a lot of them around, there are a few around. I wouldn't say there's a lot around, but anyhow, they don't make a lot of flowers, but they do make some. Whatever this kind of little plant is, it's still got a single flower on it at the moment. I don't even know what it's called. But again, most of these plants, I don't know what they're called. I don't see any flowers on this mimosa. It's probably time to prune this thing too. It's looking pretty straggly. I'm going to call that it for a report. Keep it short. Maybe I'll go up here and take another shot at just a couple more of the horse mint flowers up here before I sign off. Get some out in the sunlight. Again, they're pretty well past their full bloom. I didn't get a good video of them in their full bloom, but you can find them online as far as both to buy and or find pictures of. I thought about buying some, but then since I have as many as I do, I'm not sure it's worth buying. Now, lemon mint, I might get them. Oh, wild petunias. The wild petunias are spotting here and there. They've been up for a little while, but you never see a lot of them. Let's see, you get a really good view of the yellow flowers in the fields if you raise up the camera and look across that bank. Quite a few of them in there. They like this disturbed soil a lot, apparently. Here's quite a few more wild petunias. I don't know what this is called, but it's flowered and done its thing. Little waxweeds are still coming up. Here's a really healthy wild petunia. It's the biggest one I've ever seen, I think. It's not saying it's the biggest one there is. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. It's over a foot tall. And it's got big, thick, heavy leaves. Really, really aggressive grower. Happy flowering. So, yeah. And of course, as you can see, my garden plot still looks like a rock quarry. And it will probably for a while, unfortunately. But as it changes, we will let you know. Alright, so that's it for the Sabbath, and we'll see you in another report.